For today's cup of coffee, we've got even more. I think we're just sort of sliding into this reptilian thing. There's another one that...
Speaking of sliding...
That you don't realize how broad and deep some of these things are until you get to studying them. And it's like, I never knew. And this is one of those that you sort of hear just snippets along the edge, which I've been on the edge for some days. I think I'm like sliding off of the edge. This was one of those days.
Oh, it's a landslide.
Oh God, like a snowball headed for hell. Absolutely. And if we sat and we told people what was really going on in our world, they would be like, my God, that is so insane. Go back to the conspiracy theories. Yeah. But we got to realize...
they'd be like, and y'all don't have a reality show.
I don't want a reality show.
Y'all ain't on TV.
No, I don't want to be on
y'all
TV.
Y'all ain't the new Kardashians.
Oh, hell no. We ain't got enough money to be a Kardashian.
Not yet.
Now, I have enough ass to be a Kardashian, but not the money. Can't have everything, can you? Anyhow, and for our new people, they may not recognize, God love him, the poor little Dash lizard, and he was our traveling companion for many a year until the reason he's bandaged was, and the youngest kid,
he had an explosion.
He did, because certain types of plastics do not hold up to sunlight.
He started to melt.
He did start to melt.
He started to melt.
And God love him. But you fixed him. You bandaged him. You put a little bit of baby powder on him. And
a little bit.
He's still...
I soaked that fucker.
And so we're
It was a mini snowstorm in that ball.
It was like great on.
It's like a chinchilla with a sand bath.
It was great on. Oh, the baby powder.
It still haunts us. It's still everywhere.
It does. Never again will I be able to smell baby powder without having kind of traumatic memories.
The twitches. They'll start again.
So, with the reptilian agenda, and remember that there's a lot of things that were once in the realm of conspiracy theory that over the past year or so have been thrown into the realm of fact. Which that's kind of horrifying in itself. Now,
don't say it's in the news all the time.
Yeah. Well, with the reptilians, and this has been flirting around for 20, 30 years at least, it wouldn't surprise me if there was some kind of full disclosure about that at some point in the very near future, in addition to Project Bluebeam. So they very much could go hand in hand. And we are in a time where it is very difficult to distinguish and discern reality from fiction. So another reason to be in constant prayer. Anyhow, what we're going to be discussing for today's cup is the Lacerta Reptilian interview. And I will provide a link to where somebody can go and read the transcript themselves because it's lengthy. It was said the original transcript, which in totality has not yet been released, was like 48 pages.
No fun?
Yeah. So this guy had a good overview on it that I'm taking from, and this was by Marcus Lowth, and it comes from UFO Insight. Of course, the link will be in the description box. It was first published December 11th, 2019, and then was updated December the 13th of 2021. And Mr. Lowth writes, an apparent interview with a reptilian alien entered the public domain in the early 2000s via the release of several mysterious documents named the Lacerta Files by a Swedish researcher by the name of Ole K. And it's O-L-E, and I do hope that I am pronouncing that correctly. So, if not,
she's trying her best.
It's never intentional that I have mispronounced anything.
She's trying. Give her credit on that. Give her a cookie.
Oh, it's the poor little mountain mama. She tried to speak another language again. Yeah. God love her. All right. Now, there were several pieces of information that went into this transcript from an apparent, well, it wasn't an interview, but it was supposedly with an apparent reptilian entity named Lacerta, which is Latin for reptile. So,
okay.
And he says that the transcript needs to be taken with a considerable pinch of salt. Because it's so easy to discount and discredit all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that has happened to a lot of people that have had abduction experiences, supernatural and paranormal experiences, weird life experiences. It's very easy to blow that stuff off. But that doesn't mean that there's not some truth wrapped in there. And it is an intriguing read. There are some things that do not make sense. And you're sitting there going, oh, dude is just full of shit.
Yes.
But other things do make sense. So you're like, okay.
Which is the motherfucker? Pick a side.
Well, there was a lot of information about prehistory and the First War. Now, this goes back to us talking about the Hopis the other night. I forgot to insert that picture of the ceremonial garb and the ant people. So all this does tie in together.
Yes.
And what else comes from this alleged interview? I don't know why he's saying alleged interview, but it fits.
If it happened, then it's not alleged.
Well, that's what I thought.
You can't slip under the cracks like that, motherfucker.
Well,
you a bit chunky.
Again,
you a bit chunky in your texture, slime.
What if he was delusional?
Oh my God.
We've had to deal with delusions on a grand scale again, folks. Not ours, but others. Anyhow, it fits in with many of the independent theories of what took place in antiquity and the possibility of civilizations that might have existed that we have no record of at all.
Oh, no.
So, and there is a paranormal researcher named Lon Strickler, and he has documented, extensively about this particular topic. And I did not find the exact article by Mr. Strickler, but I can include a link to some of the sites, or somebody can just type in his name and maybe they'll have better luck finding what he had written about it.
Yeah.
All right. Before this case is examined, he's reminding us of the case of Sir Peter Horsley, the high-ranking member of the British military, who made remarkable claims in the book Sounds from the Other Room, where he supposedly spoke with an alien entity named Mr. Janus. And that was an interview that took place in a nondescript house in London in a very similar circumstance to the Lacerta interview. And although Mr. Janus didn't claim to be reptilian, he did offer some of the same details, especially about the alien presence on our planet. And it says that there are a few notes about the background of the interview, the Lacerta interview, which is on a preface of the transcript by Ol K. And he claims that Lacerta was introduced to him through another researcher who he names E.F. And the interview in question took place December 1999, and that was beginning on the 16th. The researcher also stressed that they went into the interview as a complete skeptic, and it took place in a small house in southern Sweden in a remote location, and that the interview itself took over 3 hours and was extensive in detail. Now, there are supposed recordings that you can, I know that they were on YouTube. I did not listen to any of them because I figured that I would rather just go ahead and read the information that I have, because once you hear something, it's going to, affect your view of something one way or the other. Mm-hmm. So, I might go back and listen to those after I do this. And it had details, and I don't want to listen to 3 hours worth of something, I wouldn't want somebody to listen to us for 3 hours on something.
No.
That's why, well,
there are some podcasts that I have listened to that have been well worth the 3 hours.
Do they have ADHD like we do?
No.
Well, yeah.
Well, no. Well, yes, but no. But also,
maybe they're medicated.
they were violent.
They were violent?
They were yelling at people.
Oh, no, we don't. I don't want to do that today.
I mean,
That's why I turned.
She was yelling at them for good reasons, all right?
I didn't want to yell at people. That's why I turned the phone off. Anyhow, the transcript released in the Lacerta Files is an edited, shortened version. And according to all, this was due to a request following the interview that certain details and revelations not be made public at the time. And it was a 49-page transcript. And the recordings of the interview remain in his possession, and only upon receiving permission, and I'm assuming that is from the Reptilian lady, will he release them. And many researchers and enthusiasts in the fields of UFOs, aliens, the paranormal, conspiracy struggle to accept the authenticity of the claims of these files. Everybody's a skeptic, and it's a healthy amount of skepticism is okay. Yes. Says the interview, by Oll's admission, is a little incoherent in places where parts to remain private have been edited out. I will go on to say that there's some of them that's kind of incoherent that had not been edited out. Says that the interview between Oll and the apparent reptilian began with the opening question, "Who are you and what are you?" Well, yeah, I can understand. That's a good opening question. It's as good as any. And according to the entity, she was a female reptilian being who was not human and no real mammal despite mammalian-like body features. And said that was due to evolution, and that she was part of a very old reptilian race. Okay, I'm still not sure exactly how that gives her, mammal-like features. Anyhow, I think that she said at some point there was some crossbreeding going on. I don't even want to think about that. That sounds like a Jerry Springer episode. Lacerta would state that they called Earth their home for millions of years. Father. And furthermore, many of the ancient human tribes would worship them as gods. And she stated that such grand civilizations as ancient Egyptians and the Incas were aware of and spoke of their presence. And she claimed that Christianity has misunderstood the reptilians' part in human history.
Bullshit.
Hence the descriptions of the evil serpent in Adam and Eve stories.
Bruh.
And the
That's
serpent,
the agenda.
Absolutely. And the serpent said, "Did God really say, you'll not die, you will be like God?" Lacerta would claim that human beings are the result of extraterrestrial genetic engineering that was carried out by a race of aliens who rapidly sped up the evolutionary process. And that it was interesting to note that for all the answers mainstream science has, it does still remain unexplained how human beings did evolve as rapidly as they did. Because they didn't evolve, they were created. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between adaptation and evolution. Mm-hmm. I don't care how many millions of years it is, a dog is not going to turn into a cat. The possibility that some form of genetic...
There have been species that then turned into a different species, technically.
It was a cross species. They did not... that they contained the genetic code of both, but it did not... Name one. If you can name one, I will definitely apologize in the next cup. Okay. And there is the possibility that some form of genetic manipulation occurred at some point in the evolutionary timeline. There are some who believe that reptilians, that they are extraterrestrial to Earth, but Lacerta claimed that they were native Terrians, that they were here first, and that they said that the Earth was theirs first, not yours, humans.
But who's the one staying here? Who's the one on the planet right now?
This is what the Reptilian said. I'm just reading it.
But then why didn't they stand their ground? Huh?
Well, that's another good question. If we are the inferior race, so there you go. What kept them from wiping out the weak, little puny humans?
Puny.
Yeah. And the response to the question of exactly what her native name is, Lacerta said that it was a name that she only used when she was talking to humans. And she claimed that her name was something like, it was like that basilisk in Harry Potter. It was like parcel tongue. Now, if you want to attempt this, which it's this long S's, H's, K's, a couple of A's thrown in there. Right. It sounds like somebody that is drunk is exactly what that is.
Yeah.
It says with very strong pronunciation of the SH and the K sounds. And they say that the name is actually a sound that is unique to each reptilian and that they had no other names. And, yeah. So they just hiss at each other.
Yeah.
How is that advanced?
No, it's not.
Some researchers, perhaps most predominantly David Icke, have suggested that the reptilian language itself is ancient and more geared around the sound and pronunciation as opposed to specific spellings. I told you they sit around and hiss at each other. Mm-hmm. So, there's a hint to a long-held belief in some circles about an inner Earth. Now, there's quite a few cultures that talk about the inner Earth. And Lacerta stated that because they usually live beneath the surface of the planet, that they would measure time against the periodically returning cycles of the Earth's magnetic field. And this was, he had asked her how old that she was. And she had said that would make her 57,663 cycles old, or the human equivalent of 28 years old. Now, I would have to ask someone. Blue probably could be able to tell us as far as the returning cycles of the magnetic field. So he'll have to, Blue, provide that information.
Please
and we'll share it.
Please
then
explain
we'll share it
to us plebs.
And supposedly, she was a curious student of the social behavior of the human species, and so that was the reason that she had revealed her nature to EF, and then he had told Ole. And she said that part of the reason that she revealed her nature was to combat the lies and misinformation of the crazies and liars who claimed to know the truth about her race. Sounds like somebody was she posted on Reddit?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But even then, it's like, no.
Right. That seems like we heard that.
First of all, you do not represent your entire fucking race.
Right. Species. I think it's species also.
Whatever the
That's
fuck.
what they said, but it's a species.
Sporelings.
There you go. I like that. In terms of UFOs...
It's like someone played a game of Spore and made the most fucked up, weird, deformed, monstrous alien.
Hey, we could do that. I thought that was Cthulhu. Anyhow, hey, let me tell you
Monsters
something.
that basically
Lovecraft.
move in the way they move. Some of those monsters do. Just their movements alone scream, "Kill me."
I can only imagine.
They're so fucked up. Imagine. You should see some of the stuff people make.
Oh, Lord. In terms of UFOs, Ole would ask Lacerta if the many UFO sightings witnessed by the residents of Earth were in fact their own terrestrial vehicles, while admitting that some of them did indeed belong to the reptilians, most, she said, did not. She supposedly stated, quote, "Some UFOs are real crafts belonging either to your own species, humans, especially to your military, or to other alien species, or to us, reptilians," end quote. Lacerta would then offer details of exactly what these alleged reptilian aerial vehicles are. She would claim that such crafts have a metallic? Is that a word? For real, I didn't screw that one up. That is what it says. Metallic, bright gray, cigar-shaped, cylindrical.
Why don't you say metallic?
Well, this man...
Metallic-ish.
Well, now, let's remember, this guy is Swedish, and this had to be translated. So, There you go. That explains a lot. And that the appearance would often make a very deep humming sound. Now, those cigar-shaped UFOs have been quite common for a long time. Mm-hmm. And said that these crafts will most likely have 5 red lights along the side. But more often than not, these crafts are hidden with cloaking devices, meaning that any sightings are due to defective vehicles or negligence on the pilot's part. What? Does that even make any sense? I mean, if you've got somebody that's inept, I don't care what species they are, don't put them behind the wheel.
If you're a dumbass, stay in the back of the bus. Mm-mm. No, actually, if you're a dumbass, you have to stay in the front of the bus.
Yeah, really. And she had said that the Arctic, the Antarctic, and Inner Asia, especially over the mountains, are the places on Earth to witness one of these reptilian crafts. She stated that the reptilians do have a small fleet of disc-shaped crafts, but generally speaking, those belong to another alien species. She claims that the triangular crafts are the result of the military who use foreign, meaning extraterrestrial technology, to put them together. And she stated that many UFO sightings are down to natural phenomena such as plasma flares high in the atmosphere. I can understand that because there's a lot of weirdness, that people are not familiar with. Mm-hmm. They had asked him about certain symbols of reptilians historically, and one of them was a 4-winged serpent that has been through history quite a few times. Of course, we've got about the snakes, dragons, serpents, other things like that. And she said that there was one symbol in particular, a circular dragon with 7 stars in the middle of it. And Ole asked if that represented the Pleiades star system, which many researchers claim is home to the reptilian race. And Lacerta said that they were actually representing their 7 colonies. She didn't say where the colonies were.
Or the underground? The underground cities?
Possibly. And Lacerta claimed that the reptilians date back to the time of the dinosaurs, and that the disaster that wiped out the reptilians' unadvanced ancestors, I did like that term, 65 million years ago,
was a little dumbass.
Really was not a meteor, but an ancient war between the alien groups. And that was what we had. That was part of what was in with the ant people myth, and then what we had read yesterday, what we had yesterday could have taken from some of these. Said one of the alien races was reptilian, but was not connected to Lacerta's race. Lacerta. That was a typo. That was theirs. That was not mine. Lacerta's race. She claimed that this race was not from this universe, but from a bubble in the foam of the omniverse.
What?
I thought that was an interesting thing.
Okay.
And, of course, the omniverse being another dimension or realm. And David Icke claims that the reptilian entities are coming from the lower 4th dimension, and that this level of existence is more in line with the entity's vibrational frequency. He's not the only one to say that. I've heard lots of people talk about that over the years.
Yeah.
And essentially, they are always here, but they vibrate at a different rate and so perceive a completely different reality. And we've pondered that before, if that's not what happens when people think they're seeing ghosts or different things like that.
Yeah.
That it's an overlapping dimension. And we just talk about it. It's like, this is normal to us. This is everyday to us, folks.
Yes.
That it says that the assertion that the first species, the humanoids, had arrived on Earth approximately 150 years before the first reptilians did. Well, now I thought they were the ones that saying that they was the one that had planted the flag first.
Yeah.
By the time the first reptilians did arrive, these humanoids had established several colonies, with the main one being in what is now modern-day Antarctica, with another large settlement in Asia. And it wasn't long after the arrival of this reptilian species that the Great War would break out.
Well,
all right.
Time to go to Antarctica.
Well, that leads us back to several cups ago when we were discussing about Antarctica.
Yeah.
And that there was, the possibility that there was an extraterrestrial race, species, whatever there.
Well, it's time to go explore.
I don't know. The penguins.
What's wrong with the babies? You leave those babies alone.
It says the reason for this Great War, according to Lacerta, was about over the resources of Earth, in particular copper, which has great value when used correctly. And it said that copper was used by the reptilian entities to create huge and potent bombs, similar but more powerful than nuclear bombs. It says both the humanoids and the reptilians wanted control of these materials, and it appeared that the humanoids had initially managed to master the resource. However, this would ultimately result in the deployment of a nuclear bomb that hit what we recognize today as Middle America. And that the insinuation she made was that the event, not a meteor, is what killed all life, including the dinosaurs, from the planet. Okay, that could have been one of the cataclysms, why that the ant people took the Hopi people in the subterranean caves. But the fact that she was blaming the other ones...
Little sus.
I think so. And she said that the presence of, I think it's iridium, in the area that we believe is down to a meteor impact was actually formed from the fallout materials in the atmosphere. And this event would lead to a nuclear winter that would last over 200 years. And that was what the Hopi legend had said, was that the first cataclysm was fire and the second one was ice.
Oh, shit.
Did you not listen to what we just discussed the other day? Oh, my God. Anyhow, all takes exception to some of these remarkable but outrageous claims. And in response, Lacerta states that the human mind simply can't comprehend such long, grand timescales. No. So she's, again, with the putting the peoples down. We're superior to you. And while there is no doubt in the minds of many researchers that unknown and probably advanced civilizations existed, although the level of advancement differs greatly from researcher to researcher, most estimations are that this or these civilizations existed around 12,500 to 15,000 years ago. Even less conservative estimations hover around 20,000 to 25,000 years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of civilizations existing not only millions of years ago, but at the supposed time of the dinosaurs, is understandably hard for many to accept as even possible. Uh-huh. I think that the people understand that we've been lied to.
Yeah.
As far as what was before us, for thousands of years. And the book Forbidden Archaeology by Michael Cremo and Richard Thompson repeatedly demonstrates out-of-place artifacts all over the world, suggestive of human civilizations all over the planet, quite often dating back millions and millions of years. And that is one of the things. Archaeology is you talk about a field that is suppressed. Mm-hmm. It's unreal. I mean, there are so many archaeological finds that you can't even discuss.
I would like to know.
Oh, well, there's some of them that I can... Some of these people are called really ugly names. A lot of their research is hidden, stolen, whatever. Their funding is taken away. Then they're, it's like the internet and different things like that at this point in time. It is modern day shunning. Yeah. It can be dangerous if they dox somebody. So, anyhow, it says many of these finds are suggestive not just of a human presence, but an advanced presence, either human or of an unknown species. And according to Lacerta, the main source of her information about the early times of reptilians and humans is based on a discovery made by her ancestors on a strange crystal approximately 16,000 years ago in what is now North America. In the crystal was information apparently made and recorded by the last of the First War survivors. From this, her ancestors were able to learn the fate of the first humanoids and reptilian entities on Earth. However, there are significant gaps in the history, even with them, from around 16,000 years ago. I think it's interesting that we have computers now, and what is the memory written on? It's written on crystal.
Yeah.
I've always surmised that about the crystal skulls, that what if they have this
it's just a giant
history, computer? Right, all the history written on it. Lacerta claims that human scientists and historians have and still possess skeletal proof of her reptilian ancestors. However, largely due to a consideration of an intelligent, upright reptilian entity not being in their thought processes, each has dismissed or mislabeled these as inconsequential, unknown, or something else entirely. Sounds like this she got some attitude going, doesn't she?
Yeah, she thinks she's some hot shit or whatever.
Absolutely. And
by the way, if you act like that, you never are.
No. It said that she would continue. She continued that many skeletal reconstructions of dinosaurs are totally wrong, with some ancient animals having never existed due to the use of many bones that didn't belong together in such attempted reconstructions. I think everybody has thought of that.
Yeah.
You can find something out here, and these people make this elaborate story of what these things were, what they supposedly looked like, and it's just, they don't know. They don't know
shit.
According to the Lacerta File, some scientists in high-ranking positions in museums and other historical institutions are aware of this problem, but do not admit it to the public. Well, it's not just about the reptilians. There's lots of things that have been suppressed, especially the Smithsonian. Yeah. It says that one almost successful reconstruction was made at some point in the second half of the 20th century, but that their work was shut down and suppressed. Of course it was. Another idea that comes up is that of the hollow earth, and Lacerta would claim that the earth is not literally hollow and that there is no second sun, but it does have a vast and extensive network of cave systems. And that these cave systems are...
like ant people.
Huh?
Like ant caves.
Yeah, that was going back to probably what the Hopi were talking about.
So the reptilians stole the land from the ant people.
We don't know.
Oh, so it's the ant people that are the good ones.
No, well, it said that the humanoids were here 150 years before the reptilians.
Okay, but who the fuck cares about that?
Well, anyhow. So it says that these cave systems are not near the surface, and that they're unknown to humans, of course, that they're deep under the earth between 2,000 to 8,000 meters, and that these huge open systems are further connected by an equally vast network of tunnels connecting continents to each other deep below the surface of the planet. and that these are lit and powered by technological and gravitational devices, including areas with an artificial sun, while there are several discrete surface areas, particularly in America and Australia. And Area 51, maybe? We don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know where it would be in Australia. I think that there's a lot of desert there that... Who knows where the... I wonder if those could be what people have thought to be hell mouths.
Could be.
You know, there's been quite a few.
That's a thing.
Yeah, there's been quite a few of those reported over the years too. Now, this account with Lacerta is highly suspicious. Yeah. But dude says that, you know, it's worth a read. You know, if you've got time and just sort of an open mind. Don't be too open-minded on it.
Have a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely. And he says that perhaps one thing we can take away from such documents and claims is that we really do not know in any certain way the history of our planet beyond several thousand years. I don't even know that we know that.
No.
Mountains speak. Nobody knows shit about shit.
Yes.
And I'm also going to include, there's another website. It's Biblio something. It's Biblio something. And it's under Lacerta File number 1. And then there's a website that's called Alternative Realities. And their article is the Lacerta Files debunked. The question. And it's an interesting, they ask some very intelligent questions on that. It's a little blog. What is most interesting, the comments, because the people that did comment are very much convinced that this is real.
Yeah, well.
And, you know, it's sort of like the X-Files. I want to believe, but don't want to believe so much that any kind of common sense or rational thought is pushed aside. And that's something when you're dealing with any of this, you know, UFOs, aliens, cryptids, supernatural, paranormal, all that stuff. You do want to see if there is a rational explanation, if it does make sense. Mm-hmm. And now we can tell people we had recording weirdness that we had to. That's the reason that
it took half our video away.
Well, not half. It was, we were getting to the end anyhow. It started at the cave systems.
Just a bit more than half, whatever that is.
A little less than half.
A little less than half.
So it was just weird. Had never had any problem with it doing that, and all of a sudden it just said, "I cannot record." And it's like, what the hell is that? Could no longer record. And so we don't know if the reptilians, they put the...
They heard us through the damn camera because it's connected to Wi-Fi, possibly.
Well, because we're sitting here with laptops and Google knows all. Mm-hmm. It's true.
Okay.
It is true.
Yeah.
So, if you've had experiences with paranormal, supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, reptilians, any of these things, if you've got local, regional, family myths, legends, if you have personally read the Lacerta Files and would like to share your knowledge or your thoughts on that, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And yeah, we're a little bit weirded out about the camera thing.
Just a little bit. That's a little sus from... That's a little suspicious for me.
We were just rolling right along, and then it's like this big X came up on the screen, and I'm like, what the hell is that?
How dare.
Yeah.
How dare.
So...
You bitch.
This, I don't think I had said this part there before. This video will upload or be released or premiere, preview, whatever the hell
it will be up. It'll be up and online.
It'll be New Year's Eve day.
Yes.
And so what we will do is go ahead and make a New Year's Day greeting blessing. Check those out, because it's a matter of us being appreciative of the folks that take the time to listen and share coffee with us and porch ponderings.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back with more reptilians. I'll probably go straight to the David Icke excerpts after that.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And I really do. I need to order some of his books. And I think that's what we were discussing were the David Icke books and why I don't have one. And I thought I had ordered one. And the books in the living room, behind the door, in the craft room, in the hallway, all those things.
David Icke
I don't know that I didn't order it. I don't know that I didn't order it. I may just put it someplace.
I swore you did order one of his books at some point.
I thought I did. But we'll find it. And if not, then I can go ahead and order another one. Because he has, for 20 or 30 years, the man has been consistent, and a lot of the things that people thought that he was batshit crazy had been, been revealed to be true.
Because he's not completely batshit crazy.
Well, I don't think so. And there's been a lot of people, he has always said that people in positions of power very much could be the overlords. Somebody is. Somebody is. So it wouldn't surprise me. At this point, not a lot would surprise me on anything like that.
Yeah, same.
And, even one of my favorite live streamers last night was talking about Project Blue. Is it Bluebeam?
Mm-hmm. Project Bluebeam.
Yep. Which I was expecting that to come out a year or so ago, but I think that certain people's are getting kind of desperate, so it wouldn't surprise me in the least within the next couple of years if we saw either alien invasion or something like that.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Well, what appears to be aliens. So.
It could be all fake.
Could be. Do not be deceived.
Yep.
Anyhow, we'll see you on the next cut.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that little notification bell. Or whatever it is, I don't know.